Hey, what's up YouTube? Down on Paris21 here, and I'm here with my first video of my segment, basically showing you guys some basic advanced tips and strategies when it comes to your decision making in this game to kind of help better your play. You know, the segment is kind of geared toward beginners, but I think even experienced players can learn a thing or two based on a few things that I think that every player should have an understanding of. Now, for this topic of the video, I'm actually going to be talking about attacking with unboosted rear guards and the decision making behind it. Now, when it comes to unboosted rear guards, I do tend to see some misplays. I'm actually guilty of it sometimes, and I was very guilty of it when I first started in this game, but I actually became a lot better at this game and actually got a better understanding of it. And I just see this, I see misplays like this done a lot that really leads up to a lot of losses, because essentially by you doing these misplays, you're not maximizing your turns that you should be. Now, attacking with unboosted rear guards. This is what I commonly see that a lot of players do that really it's probably not the best decision to do. Now, I have one Vanguard with the booster, and I have one unboosted rear guard. My opponent has a 10k Vanguard, so as you can see here, 10k rear guard, this can obviously hit him, and obviously with the boosted Vanguard this can hit. Now this is the attack order I see that I feel that really causes the misplay. My opponents, I'll see they'll attack with the Vanguard first. Now the idea behind this is you attack with the Vanguard first so that if you happen to drive check a trigger, you can give it to this rear guard, and then he can be attacking for more, I guess. So in this case, I drove check a critical, so you go crit, power. Simple as that. Your opponent takes 2 damage, and then you'll swing for 15. Now, here's the problem behind this. Now, at best case scenario, you end up hitting a trigger. Your opponent takes 2 damage, and they take no triggers. So now you're swinging for 15, and either they're going to take a 3rd damage, or they have to use a 10k shield to block, which normally would have been 5 to block this. That is your best case scenario. However, it's not always going to happen like that. It hardly ever happens, and honestly, that kind of gamble is not really worth it because I don't think the payoff is that good anyway. Now, here's what I feel should be the decision. Put those back. Attack with the unboosted rear guard first. The reason is, this is a guaranteed attack. Either your opponent's going to take 1 damage, or they use a 5k shield. A best case scenario, okay, they take the damage. Congratulations, you just picked off 1 free damage without even committing another field card to the board. So that's always good. And then if you attack with the Vanguard. Now, the reason why you do that is if you attack with Vanguard first, and let's say you don't even hit a trigger. Let's say you don't even hit a trigger, and then your opponent damage checks a trigger. +5 to Vanguard. Your Wiseman is 10 versus this 15. This is not going to hit. So basically attacking with the Vanguard first with the possibility of hitting a trigger, and then with the possibility of him not hitting a trigger, or it's just too many, I don't know. There's just too much probability behind that, and the payoff is not even worth it. Essentially, when you're attacking with unboosted rear guards, you always want to look at what can he guarantee to hit. At this point, all he has to hit is a Vanguard. Just attack with it first, get a guaranteed attack in. That's a guaranteed attack. That's a guaranteed damage or a 5 shield that he has to waste from his hand. Granted, if he doesn't have a draw trigger in his hand, he has to potentially waste a good booster, or he has to maybe waste a 10k shield when it was originally 5 to block. And hey, like I said, if he takes 1 damage, your opponent made it very easy to do 1 damage to him, and you didn't even have to commit another card to the board. And even if he takes the damage, hits a trigger, this Vanguard is boosted, so I mean, that's a guaranteed hit. So, you know, little things like that will really pay off in the long run, because it's all about making sure you get all the hits you can. I mean, that's really what this game is making sure you get all the hits you can to really force out the most out of your opponent. Now, let's say the board setup is a little different. Let's say your opponent does have a rear guard. Let me see. Let's just put a tough boy out. Whatever. No, actually, no, let's not do that. Let's actually put a Moe. Now, 10k. Now, my opponent now has a 10k Vanguard and a 10k rear guard. At this situation, it's not a bad decision. The fact is I don't run stand triggers. It's not necessarily a bad decision to attack with the Vanguard first, because really, in actuality, okay, I drive check nothing. Let's just say I drive check nothing. Ignore the critical. My opponent damage checks a trigger. Now he can only, now my wise man can guarantee to attack the Vanguard or guarantee to attack this. If he pumps the so it's simply put, if he pumps the Vanguard, I'm attacking the rear guard. If he pumps the rear guard because he wants to keep it, I'm attacking the Vanguard. So I'm guaranteed a hit. But I mean, worst case scenario, I hit a critical trigger. He damage checks 2 triggers. It pumps these 2. I mean, if he does that, okay, whatever. I'm still doing 2 damage. It's the same as if I attack the Vanguard. Again, he does 2 damage, so it doesn't really matter much, and that hardly ever happens. So that's when it's appropriate, so you can hold off on this attack. And at best case, if you end up hitting a trigger, you pump the Wiseman, and your opponent hits no triggers in his damage check, then you're going to have a stronger attack. Whether you want to kill the rear guard or make it a 10k block to block the Vanguard. Now, if your opponent here, and even if your opponent hits a trigger on the damage check, it's still 15 that's floating around. So either you want to kill this or attack that. So this is always going to be guaranteed a hit. That's when it's appropriate, so that you can just attack with the Vanguard first. So simple basic strategy there, guys. So whenever you attack, so something to keep in mind is, the thought process is, when you have an unboosted Vanguard, look at how many targets he has in the field. Look at how many targets you have, attacking targets wise, your opponent has on the field, and how many of those he can hit. If he can hit multiple targets, then it's safe that you can just attack with the Vanguard first. Sometimes if my opponent has an interceptor, I sometimes will just spike the interceptor first. But it doesn't really matter at that point. I mean, that's really a decision that you have to make. This is just a basic strategy that I think a lot of players fail to do, that it ends up losing them the game because they end up missing on maximizing their turns. So yeah, guys, that's a basic strategy for you guys. Leave a comment below if you want to see more of these type of videos, what kind of topics you want me to cover. I'll definitely try my best to cover all that. And on that, guys, definitely give a thumbs up if this can definitely help you out. And I hopefully you guys maybe learned a little bit with this video. On that, guys, I appreciate you guys for watching. Be sure to sub for more Cardfight Vanguard videos. And I'll see you guys later.